Gregoire still being posted in third. Had probably the scariest moment of the weekend, Ari, in practice.
The only incident of the whole weekend is when his rear wing collapsed just as he came out of turn 4. Luckily enough for him, it happened coming onto the straightaway and not going into the turn. He made a small spin going into one, but didn't hit anything. So far, a very safe weekend. So far, a very safe race.
We talked about guys that we were expecting to move to the front. How about Eddie Cheever? He started 19th. He's all the way up to 11th. Cheever finished 4th and 6th in the last 2 races. He's the only Infinity-powered machine here. And Cheever, week after week after week, starts toward the back, goes toward the front on race day.
Posted, as we saw, in the 11th position. Now the battle is tightened up once again between the Kelly Racing Team. Trouble! Your leader, Scott Sharp, spins coming out of turn number 3 and into turn 4.
Very slow spin. It kind of happens slowly. Could be a problem with the tires. Could be a slow puncture. Something broke, he said.
Okay.
Very quickly trying to get out of the car. Scott Sharp, who led from the drop of the green flag, started on the outside of row number 1, and he gives way now under caution to Mark Dismore in the MCI WorldCom car. So we've had a lead change. Looks like Scott Sharp is okay, and now there's only one Kelly teammate on the point. Welcome back to the NBA Mid-Atlantic 200 at Dover Downs International Speedway. The track crew completing their work on cleaning up the Delphi Automotive crash of this man, Scott Sharp.
Very slowly starting to spin around, and we see that his tire is flat before he hits the wall. The tire went down, the tire shredded, and that's what made Scott Sharp spin. We can also see it on the tire marks on the track. Here we look on the inside, on the back of the car, and look at this here. Keep an eye on that. Right there. See how it's shredding? There we go.
That tire came off at 181 miles per hour. Will Moody calls the shots for Scott Sharp. He's with Calvin Fitt. This is the battle for second spot. The yellow car is in the second position. It is Sam Schmidt in the black and white car as we take you on board. And you notice it says on the dash, be patient.
Oh, man, they should have done that with me in Indy.
How do you make the pass? How do you make the pass here, Ari?
See, he had to back out of the throttle here because he picked up a little bit of push, which would have moved him up close to the wall. He didn't want that, so he had to back out, drop back right away. You gotta, it's a matter of timing.
Gregoire. Oh, Cheever.
Eddie Cheever.
Pits are closed. Car 28's your leader. Move out, please.
Eddie Cheever has crashed into the wall here at the Dover Downs International Speedway, bringing out the second caution of the afternoon. Cheever making contact with another car, and this will slow things down. At the time, Cheever was posted in the top 10.
That's the second year he had a crash, and second time coming out of turn 2.
Cheever said last year he lost $800,000 here at the Dover Downs International Speedway because he and his teammate, Robbie Unser, crashed. Well, Calvin Fish, you're standing by with Owen Snyder, who's got to be disappointed. Back at Dover Downs, John Hollingsworth has made a change on his nose cone. The cost, over $18,000 for Hollingsworth in that accident. How did he lose the nose cone?
He bumped into the back of Eddie Cheever, and that's what sent Cheever into the wall, and we'll get a good look at it right here. Watch Cheever go around the outside with Robbie Unser and
there
Scott
he has
Harrington.
To slow down.
And then all of a sudden, there's Hollingsworth in the back end.
The closing rate of the guy behind when the guy in front slows down is so big. That's exactly what happened. Cheever thought he could make the outside move, had to get out of the throttle. Hollingsworth was on it hard, hit him from behind, and it's not a big crash, but it put him out.
And Billy Boat almost got into the back of Hollingsworth.
You may have experienced this yourself.
And then look at this. The guy underneath Cheever just missed him, and that was Buddy Lazier.
You've had this happen to yourself sometimes on the interstate when you got a slower car in the left-hand lane and you close.
Here's
but
Buddy.
You do it 3 times slower than it happened here.
3 of the top 4 in the points race now have had some problems as you see Cheever get up into the wall.
Now watch the yellow car right on the high side. That yellow car is your point leader, Scott Goodyear. Boy, did he just sneak through.
We talked about 3 of the top 4 having some problems, and now Jeff Ward is having some pit work done. Calvin Fish.
You see how quickly traffic can come into play? Kenny Breck used Jeff Ward as a pick to close on the second place yellow car, Gregoire.
But Jeff Ward, very professional, knows he's in trouble. He stayed out of everybody's way, and everybody got by pretty good.
A lot of high expectations for Eddie Cheever, but they come for naught today. Here's Calvin Fish.
Eddie, you said this race was so important to the championship. What happened out there?
Noisy.
That really hurts our chances for the championship, but that's racing. It was in a bottleneck. I got a rod on Robbie. Robbie drifted up. This is no big deal. It's a 1-mile track. They'll be here in a second. Robbie drifted up. I had to back off, and I got hit from behind from Hollingsworth. It's unfortunate.
We've got trouble. We've got trouble. Big trouble out of turn number 2 and midway down the straightaway. Eliseo Salazar is involved.
And John
As is John Hollingsworth. Tice Carlson also being called into play. You can see him in the left-hand side of your screen.
You see Hollingsworth is moving around. That's definitely a good sign. And how about Eliseo Salazar? A year ago, in practice before this race, he was also involved in a very serious crash. Hollingsworth showing his disappointment there with his fist. This, for Salazar, was supposed to be the final stage to his rehabilitation after having so many bones in his body broken in this crash a year ago. Comes back and now involved in an early incident with Hollingsworth.
So we are working on our 3rd caution of the afternoon, and this is a big one. Cars have slowed down to a crawl because we've got an accident on the backstretch. Welcome back to Dover, where we are still under the 3rd caution of the day. I'm Jack Arute with Vince Welch, Jari Lyondike, Calvin Fish, and Steve Rogie. If you see the crew working on the remains of one of the cars involved, John Hollingsworth, here's why.
Watch Eliseo Salazar come through in the green and yellow car. Gets upside down on the side as he scrapes along the wall. We'll show you why the accident occurred. Here's Salazar coming through. Now watch, we'll stop it. Look, his wing is down in the rear wing. Just folded down on the backside.
There you see it behind the car. The car's totally out of control here. He hits the wall, the car gets launched and is on the side, but luckily enough for Salazar, comes back on its wheels pretty quickly.
Unbelievable. 2 major incidents for Salazar here in the last 2 years. And then John Hollingsworth, who's now been in 2 situations.
2, and he is very, very frustrated. That white and blue certainteed car, Scott Harrington, 1 lap down, providing an opportunity for the 3rd place machine of Mark Dismore. The guy that is very frustrated right now is right behind Harrington in the blue and white number 7, Stefan Gregoire. Harrington takes a bead. Can he get by? Momentum, so very important. There are 13 laps to go.
You're on board with Dismore, but don't forget about Buddy Lazier, who's right behind Mark Dismore. And you see Dismore going down to the black pavement, and there's Buddy Lazier. He started 17th. He's moved up. He's had a very strong car in the late stages of the race, and just 13 laps to go, he's going to be a contender.
You know, with just 13 laps to go, you really would think that Scott Harrington, who's having a good run, but he is a lap behind. The leader is in front of him. He's not going to be able to join the lead lap. He should just get out of the way.
Harrington is Greg Ray's best friend right now.
Harrington is in 8th position, and his former driving instructor from high school is his spotter. No spotter needed right now.
Close.
Side by side and way down low goes Mark Dismore. They touch.
Yeah, it was so close. It was just, oh, what a pity.
A hard hit for Mark Dismore and Stefan Gregoire. With 11 laps to go, Dismore, who started on the pole, was running in 3rd, collided with Stefan Gregoire, who was in 2nd. They rubbed, they traded paint, and all of a sudden, the caution has come out once again here at the MBNA Mid-Atlantic 200. 5th caution of the afternoon here at Dover Downs International Speedway. We are still under the 5th caution of the afternoon because of this.
Very close, very tight here. Nobody's fault, really, just a racing accident. It doesn't take much to just touch each other, get tangled up, and then go into the wall together like they did.
Now, that wall is steel boilerplate 3/4 inch thick.
tough break for both of these drivers. Racing incident, obviously, but they were running second and third, a legitimate shot at the victory, and we're trying to get around Gregoire as well as you see him come into the turn 4.
You know, at this stage of the race, with just a few laps to go, Mark Dismore was on the inside of Stefan Gregoire, going into turn 3. Very close here. And he goes up the track a little bit too much. And they tangle.
We talk about the boilerplate wall. When you hit it at 179 to 180 miles an hour, you can move it back a couple of inches. We are just a moments away from resuming to the green. As you can see the scars from that crash on that boilerplate.